Good afternoon. Meteorologist Kevin Scooper here, live from the WMUR Storm Watch 9 Weather Center. So, a lot of you guys are wondering, well, what's going to be like this year here in the United States? Well, what does that mean? Summer related. Unlike last year, here in New Hampshire, we saw high humidity, high temperatures, and a lot of rain. That's what we saw. Now, if we're going to be forecasting what this does mean in having an El Nino, well, let me dive into all of you guys right now, and let me explain to you guys what this may mean for a lot of you guys. An El Nino, less summer is coming. Here's what that could mean for the U.S. Here we go. Let's dive into this topic a little bit more. Okay. It may be spring, but not too soon. A look ahead at summer weather, especially when an El Nino, a player in last year's especially brutal summer, is rapidly weakening. It will all be vanished by the time the season kicks into gear, which is basically true. El Nino's disappearing act doesn't mean a relief from the heat, unfortunately. Not when the world is heating up due to human driven climate change. In fact, forecasters think it could mean the opposite, which we are kind of forecasting the opposite behind it. What is the summer's weather could look like? Well, let's think about this. There are two different type of factors here, what this does mean for many of us. So, an El Nino is a natural climate pattern marked by warmer than average ocean temperatures in the equator Pacific. When the water gets cooler than average, it's a La Niña. So we talked about this all the time, an El Nino or a La Niña. Right now, we're looking more forecasting towards a La Niña versus an El Nino. Right? Either phases could have an effect on weather ground around the globe, whether it's an El Nino or La Niña. If we were to see here in New England a La Niña, and everybody else sees an El Nino or La Niña, or vice versa, it may become to be more truer. But next month is hurricane season, from June the 1st through November 30th. One starts on a Saturday and ends on a Saturday. Something to always think about taking a much closer look. By June, forecasters expect those ocean temperatures to hover close to normal, marking a close call neutral phase before La Niña builds in early summer, according to NOAA's Climate Prediction Center. So right now, we're forecasting a La Niña. So should we panic over a La Niña? No. Should we panic over an El Niña? Unfortunately, no, folks. We'll walk you through this pattern by pattern with you, no matter what, with you guys. But the strength of El Nino or La Nina influence of U.S. on U.S. weather isn't informed and varies gradually based on the strength of phenomenon and the season itself. All right. The influence of an El Nino or La Nina on U.S. weather isn't as clear-cut in the summer as it is in the summer, especially during the transition between the two phases, said Michel L. It's going to be hard for me to pronounce. I'm going to make up a word. Huglerist, a climate scientist with the Climate Prediction Center. Temperature difference between the tropics in North America and more extreme in the winter. Henderson has explained that this allows the jet stream to become quite strong and influential reliability, sending storms into certain parts of the U.S. Unlike last year here in New Hampshire or anywhere in New England, we saw rapidly heavy storms, heavy flooding, rain, and 4 tornadoes back in July. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 tornadoes that we saw here in New Hampshire. And according to the National Weather Service up in Gray, Maine, saying that all of this is going to be more forecasting and forecasting our future could become to be more difficult in climate changing. So, think about that versus anything else. In the summer, the difference in temperature between the two regions isn't as significant, and the obvious influence on the U.S. weather wanes. But we can look back at what happened during similar summers to get a glimpse of what could this summer. So we're going to look back at last year in 2023, 2022, 2020, 2019, 2021, 2015, 1999, or 1986. Okay? In short, it's not cool. In the summer of 2016 was one of the hottest on the record. Okay, one. For the lower 48 La Niña, La Niña, conditions were in place by midsummer and followed a very strong El Nino winter, meaning we have a lot of snow. But you want to make sure you guys do have your ACs or mini splits kicked in ahead of the summer. So that's what we are predicting. So we don't have much information just yet on what it's going to be like, but don't rely on us just right now. So you're going to trust WMUR's, all the WMUR's meteorologists. Trust me, Haley LaPointe, Mike Haddon, Jacqueline Thomas, and Matt Honing to continue to overly complex what our weather's going to look like. We don't know what's going to be just yet. Summer 2020 followed a similar script. La Niña conditions formed midsummer after a weak El Nino. Winter, but still produced one of the hottest summers on record and the most active hurricane season on record. I have to say that was by far true. And I have a map I want to show you guys in just a second, as I got to finish up doing what I'm reading right now. This obviously isn't our grandmother's transition out of El Niños, of El Niño. We're in a much warmer world, and so the impacts will be different. Okay? Alexis says we are seeing We are seeing the credentials of climate change. Current summer temperatures outlooks for the U.S. are certainty bringing the heat. So, here's what it looks like. So right here in New Hampshire, here in England, that's what we're seeing. Warmer temperatures here, warmer temperatures over here. Not so much right about here or right about here. More in these areas are going to be seeing warmer temperatures, warmer temperatures. That's what it does mean for many of us. You may not think it's going to be like that. Well, you're actually wrong. Okay? You don't want to be overly wrong, or we're talking about with more in droughts. Above average temperatures are forecast over nearly every square mile of the lower 48. Only portions of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Montana have an equal chance of encountering near normal, above, or below normal temperatures. A huge portion of the West is likely to have warmer conditions than normal. This forecast tracks with decades of climate trends, according to L. Hedixx. Summer have warmed in most of the West than any other region in the U.S. since the early 1990s, which is true. According to NOAA, Phoenix is a prime example. The city's average July temperatures of last year was unrated of 102.7 degrees, making it the hottest month on record. for any U.S. city. It was the deadliest year on record for heat in Maricopa County, where Phoenix is located. Now, not only that, but get this, Death Valley was reading 120 or above that. Forecasts also show a worrying precipitation trend for parts of the West. So, we're going to be seeing another wet weather. We're going to be seeing another wet summer. So, we're going to be seeing another wet summer or dry summer. Wet weather for us, dry. So, drier for them, wetter for us. Unfortunately. Nothing we can overly take this for consciousness because we're not saying this is not normal. Unfortunately, saying that a lot of these things are more in commentaries for many different things. But that does mean to be common to be more commentaries for more of these events. But how common are these things are going to be? Well, as a meteorologist, we look at so many other different things and taking out different type of steps. When these steps are to be taken more under actions, we have to take what sides these are going to be under. But when these things are going to be more in safer to go swimming or thinking about all the actions. But always remember, when a thunderstorm is near, you got to take actual precautions when it gets to be that timing. So don't overly underestimate yourself, guys, when this does happen. So take it for granted on what you could be seeing, most likely, or not. Large sections of the west and central U.S. are likely to be drier than normal. This dryness combined with above normal heat, which only amplifies the dryness, could be a recipe for a new or worsening drought. You heard me. A lot of us here in New England are not even in a drought. Other places in the United States aren't in a drought. California are not even in a drought at all. You guys are out of the drought. So take this all for information grantedness, guys, because some of these things are going to be much higher and things are going to be more evenly. Wetter than normal conditions are in the forecast from the Gulf Coast to the northeast. Stormy weather could be a constant complementation for much of the east, but whether it comes from tropical rain and thunderstorms or tropical activity won't be known for months. Just like we saw last year, the month from last summer, unfortunately, New Englanders, brace yourself because we are forecasting that once again. Nothing to be overly uncommon for, guys, but we are forecasting that yet again. Sorry, New Hampshireers or anybody else in New England, prepare yourself. A brutal summer also predicted in the water. Why? Heat isn't the only threat to look out for. The strengthening of La Niña conditions coupled with ocean temperatures, which have been a record highs over a year, could strengthen the Atlantic hurricane season. A warming world graduates more fuel for more tropical activity and stronger storms. La Niña trends to produce favorable atmospheric conditions to allow storms to form and hold together in the Atlantic. So yes, guys, we're looking at that yet again. But unlike last year, many of us saw remnants. This year, we don't know yet if we're going to be forecasting, if we're going to be seeing actual hurricanes ourselves versus seeing remnants. Earlier this month, forecasters at Colorado State University released their most active intentional forecast ever. What I'm reading to you guys right now. Okay, we anticipate a well above average probability for a major hurricanes making landfall along the United States continue into the Caribbean, the group said in the news release. Now, another thing on topic I want to announce today is that we could most likely start thinking about releasing a new type of information. So we've talked about this before is we see in a category 1, a cat 2, cat 3, cat 4, cat 5. Now, a category 6 hurricane could happen. So are we predicting a category 6? Well, the hard answer is yes. We're forecasting a category 6 for hurricane season. Is a category 6 hurricane possible? Yes. The researchers suggest a category 6 on a Saffir-Simpson scale would be for storms with winds over 86 meters per second, 390 km/h. They suggested 5 tropical cyclones have now passed that threshold since 2013. Certainly, Hurricane Patricia 2015 would met that threshold. So yes, we are most likely looking at a category 6. Do we want to be forecasting a category 6? No. We are going to be getting ready to forecast a category 6. So be ready for a lot of these things over the next several months. Whether you're here in New Hampshire or not, we're forecasting out a lot of different things for our forecast. A lot of different things over the past several years we have forecast was higher than ever. Normal below temperatures were going to be on a much different scales of ending. How far that could trend is going to be making it much different for many of us. Don't overly comply or ask us what this could mean. So, thinking about all this may be going to be more triggering. So as we continue to start forecasting a lot of these different things in our forecast, most favorable and things that these things are going to be more weathering. I do think that for granted that these things are going to help us in many other different type of formats. And some type of different type of formalities that could start to change. El Niño is nearing its end. Does it mean global temperatures will cool down in 2024? Like I just read. We don't know just yet. 129 Fahrenheit, 54 degrees. Okay? That was Death Valley. So, I want to take these for granted. You're going to have time after time after time where you may think that temperatures are going to over easy. You may not think so. But as a meteorologist, we're going to continue to forecast a lot of different things, how we overcome these type of forms. Last year, the planet experienced the hottest year on record. While it wasn't entirely a surprise that 2023 could top the previous hottest year, 2016. And it did. According to the greenhouse, or any other type of greenhouse we would see, did do what it needed to do. Now, on top of a lot of these different things, we forecast as many different things as possible with our forecast. Now, we look at a lot of different things in forecasts, models in regions, in satellites, in radars. How we always indicate what things are going to be coming to be more produced. As I show you guys, one thing we do is this. I show you guys how we forecast, how we look at a lot of different type of computer models to show us what storms are going to be most likely going to be to produce by. So when these things do get ready to start to be producing by, we know how far things are going to be coming to be more advantaged. A lot of these dry lines continue to be more combining with heavy more storms to overly continue. But a lot of places are still seeing snow because the temperatures are still nice and cold enough for them to overly handle still. But not the only thing to us for deal with because we don't have any cold temperatures at all in our forecast. So, that is something we always have to take for granted. Now, over the weekend, some spots saw horrifying tornadoes. So, and I explained to you guys this before, is that these guys, some spots, did reach not a good category. Did risk a level 4, a moderate. Widespread severe storms likely, long-lived widespread and intensive. Strong tornadoes, wind speed, widespread wind damage, and destructive hail 2 inches plus. However, that didn't meet its criteria. It meant that. It meant it well. Some places did see a level 2, where that is a scattered severe storms possible, meaning you weren't going to be getting into it. People that were under level 4, you were at a higher risk in Oklahoma. No labels, or a level 3, or a level 1. But surprisingly, we didn't see a level 5. That could happen. So, I hope a lot of you guys take this for granted that, as I explained to you guys, what our El Nino is going to look like for our upcoming summer. So, obviously, our upcoming summer doesn't mean what it's going to look like just yet for many of us in the Granite State. Or not in the Granite State, or anywhere else. So, people, take this for granted where you're going to be, and how far you're going to look at what our weather is going to look like, and how far you can become to be more prepared. I hope this weather prepares a lot of you guys for our upcoming summer. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay storm aware this upcoming summer. We will always be with you guys 24/7 on our WMUR's website or anywhere else that people are going to be more predicting. From the Storm Watch 9 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kevin Scroop at WMUR News 9 with a special summer forecast predicting for an El Nino to end and get ready for a La Niña. So be ready, guys, for a lot more of that.